Isto vídeo eu discuto filosofando de Corporeal e Incorporeildades. I'll be philosophizing on corporeal and incorporealities com pertaino de regaurdomento específico mente-corpo conectivos, regaurdomento, causa-é-efieto, dinâmico, associativities, pertaino, subjectivo-objectivo, relçãonavios, which means that I'll be discussing on how incorporealities that pertain to the mind and body with regards to the corporeal element of our body in relation to mind-body, because it always has to operate in relation to mind and body, and it can't actually exist without mind. And so is intrinsic to what it means to be able to constitute any sort of corporeal process. And this is a manner of approach in regards to how we can better understand the nature in regards to the physicalities of our existence that pertain to the corporeal or corporeo, and which also pertain to the mente-corpo, dynamical connectividades, which means it pertains to the mind-body connectives they're dynamical, and they tend to operate dynamically in regards to specific psychological processes, which as a must be good enough and necessary conditions, constitutional of specific mental representations, mentalizing the mental representors to mental representations as we're processing the subject matter of material substance in regards to the self and surrounds, that we're processing the material of learning in regards to our internalizing individualizations within the corporeal and incorporealities, because we're operating on direct perception, and it's not just our direct perception that we're processing information. Or direct perception is drawing from direct and indirect perceptions in which we have specific mental representations that are representative of specific words in connective to communicatives of meaningful utterances of thought, in which we process the validations, and which requires a validation process existing to process meaningful information, regards especifíco, privo, existente, to be able to access knowledge, constitute meaning interpretations that are meaningful, to be able to access the knowledgeability and deepen our love of learning, because love of learning is not just something that is self-virtue. It's actually very, very meaningful to be able to optimized learning processes and engage meaningful learning. And this means that we don't just have, say, a vague term that we're processing. We can take a term and draw with a pencil to a piece of paper filled with graphite, and then refine it later with a pen, because that's going to be more permanent, in which we can inscribe and transcribe in our nervous systems in particular the transductions from our mind-body connection, which we're operating within free agency processes of direct perception, in which direct perception causations are allowing us to communicate our thinking from our pensador to a page, as we're escrito specific representors that have these symbolizers, in which there are prior existing knowledge regards to codified organizations organizing, codified classified classifications of meaningful information, in which we have well-calibrated syllables to visual representors, which we can depict through writing and handwriting, which transcribes the transcriptions of information processes within our mind and body. And as we're doing that, we're deepening our learning only insofar as we're engaging bem definido processos that move from vago to more gooder butter defined, high quality, meaningful information processes in which we can better meaning interpretation, specific termings of terms within the phraseology of sentences that are operating within paragraphs. And then we can constitute knowledge as such and do some meaning in regards to meaningful work. And that's operating the working mind in relation to Corpóreo e Incorporeildades. And that means that it's operating within intrinsic, innermost processes of our incorporealities that are conductive and conducive to more comprehensive knowledge and understanding that can deepen our wisdom of meaningful information on these processos de associatividades, in which ultimately regard our meaningfulnesses. So I hope you have an awesome one. Enjoy it. Bye.